I could not believe it. What Jarryd Hayne just did to the defence there defies belief. He is held in such awe by opposition teams now. They don't know what to do when he gets the ball. You're seeing one of the absolute superstars of world sport at the moment. Have a look at him.
As soon as that ball came off his foot, you knew it was going to bounce back into his hands. The ball is like an extension of his body.
In for Hayne.
He was one of the greatest fullbacks the NRL had ever seen. He won back-to-back Dally M medals, helped Australia win a World Cup. He even chased an NFL dream with the San Francisco 49ers.
People forget, like, this was such a huge story. He was the poster boy of Australian sport. I was writing 4 or 5 stories a day, and they wanted more. People just couldn't get enough of the Jarryd Hayne story because he was sensational in the trial game.
Oh, he actually I didn't realise he made the roster.
First week of the NFL, prime time. Yeah, like, it was the talk of America. It was like, well, maybe not America, the talk of San Fran. It was a big deal over there.
Like this Aussie had come over.
Yeah, it was a huge story. I remember.
Then he goes back. He backpedals. Then he gets to the waiver. Lullaby scored. A try again through the magic of Jarryd Hayne.
Intercept. How much pace has Jarryd Hayne got? Has he got enough to keep on trucking? They're coming from everywhere, but Jarryd Hayne has got enough.
Jarryd Hayne rose through the Parramatta Eels to become one of Rugby League's most electric players. He won the Dally M medal, the NRL's highest individual honour, in 2009 and 2014, and scored 11 tries in 11 test appearances, helping Australia win the 2013 Rugby League World Cup. In 2015 he took a gamble most footballers never do, leaving the NRL at his peak to try out for the NFL, signing with the San Francisco 49ers as a running back and kick returner. That stint was short-lived. He made 3 fumbles in 4 games before being cut from the roster.
Today, Jarryd Hayne is a convicted rapist who spent years fighting his conviction through the courts. Here's what actually happened.
Around the same period, Hayne's off-field life became increasingly troubled. A woman in Santa Clara County, California, sued him, alleging he had non-consensual sex with her in December 2015. Prosecutors ultimately didn't pursue criminal charges due to lack of evidence, and that civil case was settled in 2019 before going to trial. Then came the case that would define the rest of his life. In September 2018, Hayne visited a woman at her home in Newcastle, north of Sydney, after attending a friend's bachelor party. According to the allegations, Hayne assaulted her in her bedroom, causing injuries, while a taxi waited outside. The woman's mother was also in the home at the time. This is where the case becomes unusually long and complicated. Hayne would actually stand trial 3 separate times. Trial 2, in March 2021, a jury found him guilty of 2 counts of sexual intercourse without consent. He was sentenced to 5 years and 9 months in prison, with a non-parole period of 3 years and 8 months. At sentencing, the judge was blunt. Hayne had been fully aware the victim was not consenting and went ahead anyway, and her evidence had held up under lengthy cross-examination. Hayne always maintained his innocence, insisting the encounter was consensual and any injuries were accidental, and he launched an appeal. In 2022, the NSW Criminal Court of Appeal upheld 2 of his legal arguments, that the trial judge had erred in her directions to the jury, and that there were inconsistencies in the complainant's evidence. Rather than acquitting him outright, though, the court ordered a full retrial, and Hayne was released on bail under strict conditions, reporting to police 3 times a week, surrendering his passport, and staying away from international departure points. In March 2023, the case went before a jury for the 3rd time. After deliberating for more than a week, the jury again found him guilty of sexually assaulting the woman. He was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months, with parole eligibility in May 2025 due to time already served. The sentencing judge noted Hayne had shown little contrition, though he was assessed as a low risk of reoffending. Hayne didn't stop fighting. He appealed again, and in mid-2024 the second appeal succeeded on procedural grounds. His third trial convictions were quashed, and he was granted bail unopposed, released after roughly a year in custody following that conviction. Notably, the judges were divided. One justice, Deborah Sweeney, wrote that she believed there was a significant possibility an innocent person had been convicted, while another, Justice Marr, disagreed entirely, saying it was open to the jury to be satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that Hayne was guilty. That's where the well-documented public record largely leaves off: an overturned conviction, a bail release, and a case sent back to the courts for prosecutors to decide how to proceed. Whatever the ultimate legal outcome, the sporting career is long over. A man once talked about as one of the best fullbacks of his generation instead became known for one of the most legally tangled sexual assault cases in Australian sport. Jarryd Hayne was released on bail in June 2024, after the NSW Court of Criminal Appeal quashed his convictions for a second time. He'd been in custody at Mary Wade Correctional Center for a bit over a year at that point. Later that same month, prosecutors dropped the case entirely rather than pursue a fourth trial, so he never served out a final sentence in the way an upheld conviction would have required. The conviction and years-long legal saga effectively ended Jarryd Hayne's career at its peak. A defense lawyer noted at sentencing that he'd suffered an extraordinary loss to a stellar rugby career, including the loss of a lucrative contract while being publicly vilified throughout the period. Financially and socially, the fall was stark. Reporting described him going from a $1.2 million contract to a prison job paying $48 a week, working in the prison's textile and laundry operations. His time in custody stripped away the trappings of his former stardom entirely. Inside Kuma Correctional Center he was labeled a bottom feeder, a prison term used for sex offenders, murderers, and disgraced celebrities, and his day-to-day existence was reduced to isolation in a small cell with only 25 minutes of outside time to walk around and read. Beyond the personal toll, his reputation and legacy took a major hit. Once a two-time Dally M medal winner and NRL great who'd also carved out a notable, if brief, NFL run with the 49ers, he's now publicly defined largely by the case rather than his on-field achievements, and hasn't returned to professional sport or stepped back into major public life since the charges were ultimately dropped.